Hey guys, in this video, we're going to be talking about mind control. This is one of my favorite things because it gave me the biggest breakthrough. If you've seen my last video, 16 Truths That Set Me Free, you know that this is a big one. If you haven't seen it, go ahead and click this link and you can watch the video now. But for those of you who have, let's unpack it. If you're a first-time visitor to my channel, my name is Yonci, and each video I give you a tip or a trick on how to live the abundant life, specifically overcoming depression, which I have overcome clinical depression without medication, and I have overcome anxiety. It's something that you can use for the rest of your life to help you get through and live the type of life that you want to have. Most people just exist and get through day to day, but I want you to be able to be excited each morning when you wake up, ready to seize the day and get everything you can out of every waking moment. So join me right now and let's learn about mind control. But first, go ahead and click like if you would be so kind. Drop me a comment, let me know what you think about this video, and if you think it's something that other people will enjoy, hit that share. You can subscribe if you want more tips on mental health. Without further ado, let's get into it. Mind control. As I mentioned in the last video, I had this epiphany which was based on a Bible verse. The Bible verse says to take captive every thought and bring it into subjectivity. Now, this was a verse I had heard all the time. You know, you have the things that your parents say and you're kind of yada, yada, yada. But I don't know what it was about this one day. It was in my 30s. I was still married. I was in a very unhealthy relationship. And I just had that thought pop into my head. Mind you, I was bawling hysterically. I'll never forget, I had just gotten off a phone call that was very disturbing, and I was sitting on my staircase in the middle of my entryway, just sobbing. Now, the normal thing that I would have done was kind of just wallow. It was an upsetting situation, and I was totally justified in my being upset, but I would have wallowed. I would have probably gone to bed, maybe eaten something unhealthy, and just kind of lost the rest of the day. But for whatever reason, that verse popped in my head, and it was take captive every thought. And if you know anything about me, I'm huge on metaphors. And I had this metaphor in my mind, this picture rather, of like a soccer field or a foosball table where you have just all these balls flying around and you have the end goals. Well, I pictured my mind as one of those end goals, and I was the goalie. And I had to block the thoughts that I didn't want to get into my goal. Now, one of the things that you have to keep in mind if you're going to be blocking thoughts is you have to be aware of your thoughts, which is why one of the most important things you can do on this journey to mental health and emotional freedom is
to slow down.
So often we have so many things going on in our life, it's sensory overload. Literally, the radio is on, the TV is playing, you're scrolling through social media, people are talking to you. There's so much going on at all times. You have to find a way to quiet the noise. And what's funny is, before my breakthrough, I absolutely hated being alone with my thoughts. I hated it because they were mostly negative and they were mostly toxic to my well-being. After my breakthrough, I crave it. I actually get to places where it's almost like a dehydration. I can tell that I need something and I will have to get away. I will have to decompress. Even with my little girl, as much as I love her, sometimes I say, Mommy needs a little time out, and I'll have to go and kind of meditate. Nothing really official, but just kind of get control of my thoughts, because I can tell when I start to get too overstimulated. And all this we're going to get into in more detail, but I really want you guys to understand the importance of clearing your head, clearing your mind. One of the reasons this is so important is because there's a little voice inside of you. And I like to name the little voice and say little Yonci. So let's say if your name is Tom, you can call him little Tom. And just imagine this little character. Think of it like that movie, what is it called? I probably shouldn't say the name anyway, but it's a little Disney or Pixar movie, and it shows all the little emotions. Well, they're little people, kind of like the little angel on your shoulder, demon on your shoulder type of thing, but just picture this little person. But this person has so much control. And for most of your life, you've probably been on autopilot and just listened to this person. It's like somebody at a proverbial cockpit, but they're sitting up there and they have this little speaker and they're giving you commands, and you're just listening because you don't know any better. Well, what I want you to be able to do is start to concentrate so that you can hear this voice and you can discern between the instructions that you want to take and those that you don't. That is the victory. And as everything is that I'm going to give you, it's going to sound so simple, But that's the beauty of it. It's so simple that anybody can do it. And all you have to do is get yourself in the practice of it. Now, I'm warning you, you're gonna feel silly at first. You're gonna feel super, super silly. But the beauty is nobody needs to know that you're doing these techniques as long as they're working. So here's what you need to do. You need to identify little you. And I challenge you to close your eyes, get in a very quiet space, get in a comfortable space, and make it somewhere that you enjoy. If there is a smell that you like, if there's a sound that you like, maybe like a running water or beautiful music, go somewhere where you can have that tranquility and just start to practice getting in tune with your thoughts. What it is you're not consciously telling yourself something. You're not going through a list of what do I have to do today. You're just taking inventory of the autopilot thoughts that are coming in. And we're going to get more into meditation in a different video. But essentially, that's why it's super important. So it's like cleaning. It's like organizing. It's like sorting through. You need to get to a clear space in your head, but you can't do it if you don't identify the voice. There's somebody that I'm a huge fan of his work. It's Joe Dispenza, and he really breaks down what happens in our mind in a very practical way. And I really recommend you follow him. He's on Instagram as Dr. Joe Dispenza, and he has a piece called Becoming Supernatural. You can find it online. But he really breaks down how our emotions and our thoughts are tied together. He says that emotions are the end product of past experiences. Now, if you think about that, let's say, for example, you remember a breakup, you think back, something triggers you to think about your breakup or whatever. Well, in that moment, you're not experiencing the breakup, but because of the fact that you're thinking about it, it's triggering those thoughts, and then you have an emotion. And as you continue to keep thinking about those thoughts, those emotions are going to continue to happen. So it's the cycle that keeps repeating. Well, the beauty is that you can do the same thing, but in a positive. You can think about positive things and things that you want and start to get yourself excited, and your body, it's like it almost gets confused. Your body will respond to what your mind is focusing on. Normally, we have experience-based emotions like what I just described, but you want to get to the point where you can have thought-based emotions. He says you want to teach your body emotionally what it is to feel before it's made manifest. So it's basically like, we're about to be excited, okay? We're about to be excited. You're telling yourself that. You can actually make yourself get excited. And the thing is when you start to believe something, your body starts to believe that it's living in the future. So let's say, for example, if you're thinking about walking down the aisle and you're super excited, you're thinking about your honey and you're in your dress and you're excited about your big wedding day the next day, your body is going to get butterflies. Are you at the altar? Are you getting married at that moment? No. But why are you excited? You're excited because your mind is living in that future. So the same way we get excited futuristically and we get upset looking back, sometimes we get excited looking back. This just goes to show you how much control we have over our bodies through our minds. The other example I love to give is when you're having a nightmare. Imagine a really, really scary nightmare. Your heart starts beating, your hands might get sweaty, you might even thrash in your bed. And when you wake up, even though you realize that you're in your bed safe and sound, it takes a while for your body to calm down because your body was living in that situation. Your body takes its cues from your mind. This is huge and powerful, and it's to our benefit. So I want to read something to you that he said, which is super powerful. He said, if you have too many distractions, you have sensory overload. If you can't think, you can't analyze. The analytical mind is what separates the subconscious from the conscious mind and opens the door to reprogramming. So the first step is we have to become aware. We have to become conscious, which is really important for us to go over meditation so that you can learn to calm your mind and start to be aware of your thoughts. The next step is we have to make changes. You have to willfully make decisions in how you're going to think and move and act. In those moments, you prime your brain. He calls it priming your brain. And you're going to think about, who am I going to serve today? What am I going to accomplish? You start envisioning what you're going to tackle for the day. This will help you to master your time and be more efficient with your day as well. When you get present, that's when you get your power back. One of the other things he recommends is accessing your thoughts and emotions that are holding you back. Really start thinking about it. Now, this is the little voice that I was telling you. Listen, when you hear something negative, write it down. You're not good enough. Who do you think you are starting this venture in life? You're too old. You don't have experience in this field. What if people laugh at you? All of those negative things that are holding you back, start to write them down, and we're going to come back to those later. The reason it's important for you to write them down is because you start to understand the enemy's tactics. I like to use the word enemy because there's an entity inside of you that is not there for your best benefit. There's an entity inside you that is as well, and we want to strengthen that latter energy and weaken the former. So if you understand your enemy, you can overcome and defeat it much quicker. So understand the lies that are coming from the enemy, and that way it'll set off a little alarm bells when they come into your head in the future. Also keep in mind that where you place your attention is where you set your energy. So be focused on what you focus on. As I mentioned before, if you like this video, please go ahead and click the like button. Comment, let me know what you think about it. If you know someone who would benefit from it, share. And if you really want to be awesome, hit the subscribe button, and you can get plenty of tips and tricks about overcoming your mind, getting self-discipline, and living your abundant life. If you hit the notification bell, you will be notified every single time a new video drops. There's an amazing quote by J.P. Sears, and it says, "The intuitive mind is a sacred gift. The rational mind is the faithful servant, yet most people live in a way that forgets the gift and honors the servant." So most people are not in tune with their intuitive mind, and that is something that's a quieter voice. I like to describe them as voices. It's a quieter voice. It's easy to get drowned out. It's not the prominent one. You have to intentionally be quiet in your spirit to be able to hear it. The rational mind is the one that kind of goes on autopilot, and we've just functioned based on how we've normally functioned. The rational mind should be a servant to the intuitive mind, but a lot of times we are in control with our rational mind, and that should not be the case. We should be more in tune with our intuition, more in tune with the little voice inside of our head, and that's what we're going to master listening to and hearing and obeying. Now, one of the things you're going to experience when you start to become mindful is that you're going to sense everything. You're going to become very, very sensitive. It is a good thing, and it is also a bad thing at times if you don't control it. This is why it's so important to watch who you're around and what you're around and what you put into your spirit. You have to catch yourself when you start to feel overwhelmed, when you start to feel discouraged, if you start to feel anxious, you will become very aware. But the beauty of being really sensitive is that you can get on it right away. It's not going to take hours and days for you to realize, crap, I'm about to hit the wall. You'll notice it right away, like a little tickle in your throat when you feel a cold coming on. You don't have to wait till you have the full-on flu to realize something is the matter. I have another quote by Dr. Joe Dispenza that I love. He says, "A new thought leads to a new choice. A new choice leads to a new behavior. A new behavior leads to a new experience. A new experience leads to a new emotion. An emotion teaches your body emotionally or chemically what your mind already understood. You must decide to be designed by a vision of the future instead of a memory of the past." So essentially, we're teaching our bodies what to experience emotionally based on what we have chosen cognitively to think about, which is why it's so important to be mindful. You cannot go on autopilot. You can't just jump out of the bed, roll into the bathroom, and just stumble through your day. You need to consciously decide, who do I want to serve today and what do I want to accomplish? You need to know what's the big picture. That way you could start to move more intentionally, and life won't happen to you. You will take the reins on life. I want to leave you with a challenge today. Over the next couple of days, I challenge you to have no music, no TV, which it's going to be difficult if you have a partner or children or things like that. But if you can, maybe walk around with headphones, with music that doesn't have any words, perhaps something that's very calming and soothing for the most part. But try to see if you can go 24 hours without anything that is going to stimulate your senses, something that's like entertainment wise. Being in the car is the perfect opportunity if you drive alone. Being in the restroom, it's more time that you have alone, but start to really, really focus in on your thoughts. When you feel a thought that is not serving you, that's the best way I can describe it, a thought that is not serving you, you can say to that thought, I don't receive that. You can reject that thought. I'm going to give you a practical example. Let's say in your mind says you're going to be late, you're always late. You could speak back to that little voice in your head and say, no, I'm not going to be late because I'm going to make sure I keep an eye on the time. You can actually speak back to this little voice. And I told you it's going to be a little bit weird at the beginning, but no one knows, so it doesn't matter. It's between me and you here. But picture that little person, the little miniature version of you, and you need to speak back to it. I don't understand all the science of this, and sometimes, you know, I question whether even to do these videos because I don't have a degree in this. I don't know all the scientific terms, but all I can tell you is what worked for me. I'm a living witness that this stuff worked for me. And there's something about your brain, and I couldn't understand this in watching videos that other people did about meditation and things like that. But the best way I can describe it is you communicate with your subconscious mind, and your subconscious mind is what I call the little you. So little Yonci, I sit there and I talk to her. There are times where I feel anxiety, and I'm going to get more into this in a future video, but there are some times where I will feel an anxiety attack coming on for no reason. And I will literally go somewhere where I can sit and be still and it's quiet, and I will literally talk to little Yonci and I will say, everything is fine. You are okay. Your body is reacting, but it shouldn't. Everything's fine. You have all that you need. You have a roof over your head. You have your health. Your bills are paid. And I will literally make an argument as to why I should not be feeling anxious. And it works. It's not instantaneous. It takes a couple of minutes, but the more you get in the habit of doing it, the more it will happen naturally. I remember at the height of my anxiety, I would start having panic attacks, and it felt like I was having a heart attack. My heart would beat. I felt like it would race so fast. I felt like I couldn't catch my breath. And it was like a feeling of hyperventilation, or I would just burst into tears and nothing was triggering it. That was the worst thing. It was just autopilot. So I feel like sometimes there are residual effects from having, you know, situations in your life that cause you to have these mental breaks. And when you feel them come on, like I said, like a little tickle in your throat, address it right away. You could be having fun with people, doing something that you enjoy, and you feel the signs of anxiety coming on. Nervous energy, your heart's palpitating, maybe your hands are getting sweaty. Just excuse yourself. Go somewhere and talk to yourself. Everything is okay. I am fine. Everything is okay. I'm fine. And you can put on music that you like, perhaps find ways to soothe yourself, because your body will listen. If you go in the reverse and you let your body dictate what happens, it's like pedaling a bike. It just starts building up momentum and eventually it'll be totally out of control. So when you feel those negative thoughts coming on, fight the urge to lay in your bed and reminisce and replay all those thoughts, because that's just going to trigger everything to start coming back up and make the emotions feel stronger. Do the opposite. Confuse yourself. There's a gospel song that says, praise confuses the enemy, because when you're getting attacked, and you start praising, the enemy's like, wait a minute, that's the wrong reaction. I just caused this drama to happen. Why is this person not panicking? And it confuses him. Okay, that's what we say in the church. But you can confuse your body as well. So if you feel like you're getting stressed or what have you, and you turn on the music, I say do what you would do when you're excited. Turn on your music, pump it up, dance like nobody's watching, do the things that make you happy, smile, sing at the top of your lungs, do whatever you would do when you're happy, and I guarantee you, your body will get the memo. It's weird, but you can do it through the tears, you can do it through the anxiety, and it will work. Anyway, that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you liked it. Leave me some notes. Let me know what you think. If there's anything in particular that you want me to cover that you felt like I went too quickly through, drop me a comment as well. I'm letting people kind of dictate the pace in which I go and the order in which I go, because I have a lot of stuff that I want to get through, but I want to get through the things that you guys are most interested in first. But thank you so much for sitting through and watching. I know it's difficult to keep people's attention span for a long time. So if you made it this far to the end, comment made it, and it'll be a little wink wink between me and you. I'll know what that means. All right, guys, thank you so much. The next video that I'm going to be doing is self-discipline. So when that is posted, I'll go ahead and link it. For now, it'll just show you, if you're watching this before that video drops, it'll just recommend another video for you at the end. But go ahead and subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I will see you guys next time. Be sure to tell someone that you love them.